backlog itself, they can do the prioritization. Keep it like, what is the objective?
We should just get a number. Whenever you get it, doesn't matter. But at the end, whenever you have a final PI objective, it should have a numbers. Yeah.
Okay.
So whenever you feel that my PI objectives are stable, you take the numbers. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. So anything else, anyone? Business value?
And anything else happens after to this business value, like once it is assigned? So what is the impact of this business value?
So
how we are going to use
it? We will see when the PI gets over. Okay. So, and that's an important point Rakesh pointed out. So the intent here is there will be one measurement, we call it PI percentage achievement, percentage achievement measurement, which will use this number and also take a number again when we show them the demo of the work and ask their satisfaction percentage. And then we calculate how much percentage value we have delivered. We'll talk in an hour about that. Yeah, that's the significance of it. And we want to have a more percentage delivered. Good. So team finalize their PI plan, team consolidate their risk impairments and dependencies, as they do, and uncommitted objective remains as a capacity guard band, and they increase the predictability of committed area. Again, they use a complicated word here, but in a simple word, the uncommitted area help us in creating the predictability of the committed area. Yeah? So that's what we learned as a team breakout room number 2. Good. Movement.
What is this AV, like
AV? Actual value? So that's come later. As I said,
got it.
Yeah, we ignore it as of now. Yeah, as of now, this is the only section which is really getting populated in the PI planning meeting. Yeah, ideally they should not be showing it here, but they have showed it here. So we spoke about how to assign business value. I showed you on the Jamboard. That's the thing they were trying to show here with the help of activity. Now something called ART planning board. The old thing is program board, but now it is called ART planning board. Now here the Sagar's questions and other things will become important, where they were saying, should we finish the one feature and then do the next one? So is someone care for it? The answer is yes, we do care for it and we do want to see it. So now once each team has done their work, we may create a matrix, a grid, where you write iteration in a one dimension. This is called planning board. And you have a teams as a row, you have a milestone as a row, and then you put a blue sticky in the box where feature is completing. So if you have finished, say your team C, which feature you are completing? Team C, some such
thing. Feature 3 and 5, feature 3 and 5, yes.
Okay, so you can say feature 3, for example. So if you finish the feature 3 in the first iteration, then you better put it here. Yeah. So it's like, so we take a blue sticky where we put which feature is going to finish when, and assuming your feature 5 is getting finished in the iteration 4, assuming like this. So you show in which iteration I am finishing. For example, my team is finishing flexible search in iteration 2. Now in a program, ART planning board, I don't show anything here for my team. It doesn't mean my team is not doing anything in the iteration 1. They are working on user stories and they have not finished it. That's why there is nothing. But they are finishing it in the iteration 2. So on the ART planning board, we only show feature level details. We don't show user story level details, else it becomes too complicated. So first thing we learned is we show the timelines, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4. And another thing, we show the teams and we place the blue sticky in the box to show which team is delivering which feature when. So this board is talking about when. It is directly coming from your preparation only. The sequence you used, the question Ramya also asked, in which iteration we will do what, that sequence drives the which feature get finished when. Yeah, so that's the one thing we do here. Another thing which is also important here is assuming for fast and flexible search, I have a dependency and I have a dependency on team D. So I add the dependency as an API or dependency as a thing. And I say, I need this from team D in iteration 1. Yeah, so they need to deliver this. This is not feature, this is a dependency. They need to deliver this. Now to whom they are delivering, we can also show a red string to show that who is consuming this API. So we can say a fast and flexible search will consume API user authentication, which will be delivered by team D. Yeah. So, so we know when the feature is getting finished, and we also know this feature has what dependency and when that dependency is getting resolved. So this is a main job of release train engineer and scrum masters to ensure that whole ART level aggregation is happening. It can be built incrementally, the ART planning board, but you see that each team is making their independent board. But if they don't have an integration at a dependency level, then we will find difficult to integrate towards the end. So the ART planning board help us in visualizing features and dependencies and relationship against the timeline. The another thing we can do, we also need to exhibit milestones. So for example, in your case, we had an investor demo. So we can say, okay, we have an investor demo, which is expected to happen in week 5. So I can say, oh, investor demo is expected to happen in iteration 3. And we can also show what all will go in investor demo. So assuming you can show that these 3 things will go in the investor demo. Yeah. So it is like a high level, feature level critical path. It is like a milestone having what all content in it. And this thing is called ART planning board. The blank board may be ready on the day 1 itself. The draft board may come at the end of a day 1, but finally at the end of a day 2, we should have an integrated board which help us in seeing the whole plan together. Yeah, and that is something, as we were showing, the result of PI planning meeting as a dependency diagram. So I come here and wait for any questions. So this is your planning board. You show milestones, feature. If the feature has no dependency, so assuming here you can say that this team is finishing this feature, no string attached. It means they alone can deliver it. They are not worried about anyone. This feature is also independent. This feature is also independent. But this feature has lots of dependency. This feature has too many dependencies. So that kind of things becomes visible here. This was old name was program board. The new name is ART planning board. Why I am giving an old name? Because in our videos it's still called program board, but here it is called ART planning board. So don't get confused. But everything else is same other than the name. Good. So important point from exam perspective, the ART planning board contains feature delivery, feature, dependency, and milestones. Only 3 information, not including user stories. And they show it against the timeline and the team. Now, finally, when this all is prepared, the release train engineer, product management, they need to come together to show the integrated plan to all 100 people. The complete agile release train need to see this together. So we call it this activity final plan review. So we want to show the overall capacity and load. We want to show the final PI objectives and business value with business value. So by now we should have a business value. You get it in the beginning, you get it in between, you get it later, doesn't matter. But finally, we should have a business value. That is important from a safe perspective. Rest is it's a matter of how do you facilitate your agenda. We need to have a PI level risk and impediments, and we need to have a Q&A session. So that's something we are going to see now. So final plan is reviewed by the whole agile release train. Now here it's very important. People who are coming from Scrum background. So it is not like product management will say, this is our plan, and that's it. No. In a safe word, the business stakeholders, who are called business owners, the named key stakeholders, are expected to have an acceptance of the plan. If they don't accept, management review and problem solving, again breakout room, find out what should we do. But the business people, not product management, not product owner, not system architect, business people must agree, okay, this is good plan to work with. So business owners are asked if they accept this particular plan. If they accept it, then only we move forward and we talk about rest of the agenda like risk and other areas here. Yeah. If not, we stay in place and we team continue planning after the review. We do a management review and problem solving. We identify the issues. We go for another breakout session and come up with the defined plan. So plan is presented and business stakeholder approval is taken. Now, once business stakeholder approves it, then we talk about risk associated with the plan also. Yeah. So I give you example here and do this activity for you as a thing. I take an example for all the risks. So say when you were doing your team breakout session, in our case, we had a 3 break teams. There could be 10 teams also. Each team is identifying some risk and they have reported it there. The Scrum Master should also facilitate the aggregation of these risks at a release train level, whole ART level. Now, before we finish it, we should take a stock of these risks. We need to ensure transparency. We need to tell everyone that these risks were there and what has been done with them. So the SAFe recommends we do high level risk review. Yeah. Again, these are the only risks which are coming in the upcoming PI. The overall risk is already covered when we did a WSJF prioritization. You remember the risk reduction and opportunity enablement was one of the factors to prioritize which feature will come first and which feature will go later. So that part is already taken care. Here we are focusing on the team breakout room level risk identified, which can come in the upcoming PI. Now we categorize or review this risk into 4 categories. And this is again exam question. We call it roaming of the risk. Resolved, owned, accepted, and mitigated. These are the 4 status. So what is resolved? We are saying this risk has been addressed and it is no longer a concern. So say you were worried that, okay, this technology we have never worked on and we may be doing wrong estimation. You had a risk. And during management review and problem solving, we realized it might be risky for you to work on this feature. We removed that feature to another team. So it means this risk is no longer relevant for you, but we still need to give a status. These people raised this risk. It has been removed because we have removed the whole root of the risk. So resolved means that it is no more relevant for that particular team or that particular work. It's completely resolved. Owned. Nothing has been done, but someone has owned it. You can say system architect. Oh, this technology issue. Logo is saying, why we are not sure about the technology. We are not sure about the architecture of it. System architect will say, oh, I will take care of those architectural issues. I will work closely with you guys. That's it. That much has been done. So someone has owned up. Architect has owned up. Business people have owned up. They will say, they will work closely in that particular area. That much only has been done. We say ownership has been assigned. Nothing more than that. Those are another types of risk. So some risk goes there. Accept it. Nothing can be done. No owner. Nothing. As of now, we just have it. And if something goes wrong, we will see. So Rakesh saying, there is always an uncertainty. What if my people will take unscheduled leave and I am doing very thing, this like that. So we'll say, we will accept it. We will see as we go along. We can't plan everything. We'll see. Every week we will have a review. We'll see. We are not planning anything for that. Yeah. So accept it. We are taking the challenge. If the risk will occur, we may need to do some compromises, which we will do when it needed. As of now, nothing has been done. Accept it. Mitigate it is that team has done some adjustment. Some action has been taken, but it has not resolved the risk. Mitigated. It has resolved, it has removed, it has reduced the severity of the risk, but it is not resolved. That's a mitigated. So for example, you were worried, oh, these guys will not be able to give us dependency on time. So we still have a dependency on them, but we made the dependency, you wanted to integrate in second iteration, we made a 1 iteration ahead. We can say, okay, let's plan it, that they give the dependency in iteration 1 and you consume it in iteration 2. So even if they delay, still your work will not get delayed. So we are mitigating the chances of delay happening because of their dependencies. So that's a mitigate part of the risk. So what we do, we make 4 boxes. We move the risk into resolved, owned, accepted, and mitigated. And as a release train engineer, highly likely is going to share the status of these risks to the rest of the agile release train before we can conclude this PI planning meeting. So everybody has a clarity that, okay, where we are heading towards. Sometimes business people, when they see a lot of risk, they know they should not be committing a lot of things to their customers. Yeah. So this is a transparency which we should be doing here. Good. So risks are resolved, owned, accepted, or mitigated. Just 2 more slides and then PI planning is over. We can talk more and I can give you a time to reflect in your breakout room so that you can ask me more questions. about it. So there is another activity which is called confidence vote. So now it's like this. We did a breakout room, we took a business value, we integrated the plan, we showed it to everyone. We asked the acceptance from a business stakeholder. They said, good to go. We spoke about risk. They looked at it. Now they are feeling a little uncomfortable, but this is okay. You guys have a plan. That's good with it. But then after talking everything, the SAFE tells, check the confidence of the whole agile release train again. Are they really confident? Is the confidence level up to achieve this PI objective? Or if it's too low, probably we need to still do a rework, because we want to ask them, are you sure you will be able to deliver this? A final question. So what is commitment? So SAFE is saying you all are committing to two things. First, team is saying we will do our best to achieve our agreed upon PI objectives. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if something goes wrong, as I think Logo was talking about, something becomes technically big, we started in the first iteration, something like that, and you realize that, guys, we have committed to feature, we can't do it. Maybe you agree to escalate that information immediately. So as soon as you come to know, you need to escalate that immediately so that corrective and preventive action can be taken at a agile release train level. System thinking. You need to escalate to release train engineer. We don't have a path. Now Shrina was asking, should we put back into the program backlog? Should we do that? We don't know. There is no default path. There is a possibility, there is a feature which you guys cannot do. Rather than putting back into the ART backlog, I may want to give it to another team. Or I may want to remove other feature from your work and say, you need to finish this feature because it's too critical. So we don't know. We need to do that conversation. There is no default recommendation. Unlike Scrum, anything is pending, you put back or you don't put the back, we don't know here. So you escalate immediately to release train engineer and they need to take it the call. So with this information, the release train engineer asks how confident guys you are to meet upon your agreed upon objective. Definitely if something goes wrong, you will escalate it, but how confident are you? So people are expected to show fist of 5. That's the default method of taking confidence vote. That could be a question in your exam as well. The fist of 5 is a default method where 5, anyone who is showing 5 is showing high confidence. Anyone showing 1 is a low confidence. So people can show any number between 1 to 5. 1 is low and 5 is high. And based on that, the release train engineer or the whole ART take a feeling of how confident we are. Again, there is no rule. 70% people must say more than 3. There is nothing rule like this. You need to figure out at your agile release train level. You can do it openly, you can do anonymously, depending upon your organization culture, no specific recommendation. But the idea SAFE is saying is we should do a final level of check to sense how confident people are. And if their confidence is very low, probably we need to do a rework again, because after listening to whole idea, if people are finding difficult to commit, then we need to do a management review and problem solving again. So we take the confidence view. So that's called confidence vote. So once this is done, then closing exercise. So usually less discussion. It's like the release train engineer will put a lot of charts and says, guys, do you have a suggestion for making our next PI planning meeting better? So Logo will say, guys, you need to take a business value in the beginning, not later. Recommend, in the what should be done in a better way. So we can have a retrospective, not necessarily a discussion oriented, but just as a data collection oriented, where the release train engineer may ask what went well, what you liked, what didn't, and what can we do next time so that we have a better PI planning meeting. So as I said, the first agenda is this one. The next agenda will come from your retrospective meeting. You can say, okay, let's do it in a different way. And this is how we should run our PI planning meeting. Many times after doing 2-3 PIs, your PI planning meeting may start from draft PI plan review. Teams may do offline planning in advance rather than coming and going in a first. So many times after 2-3 PIs, people don't take a first breakout session. The first breakout session work, they do it in advance as a 1 week before. And they start from presentation, draft PI review, And the second activity is a management review and problem solving. So first activity is a presentation, and second activity is management review and problem solving in many mature organizations. So why I'm sharing this, that things will evolve as you go along, but this meeting can be seen as a default agenda to understand how the PI planning might happen. Quick 5 minutes breakout room session. Probably you will get more ideas and questions. And then if someone has a questions already, then let me know. Else you discuss it in your breakout room. You still need to see PI execution. We will talk about this thing going into your execution. There are some meetings which is reflecting on what is happening in the PI. But as of now, only stick to PI planning meeting. Yeah. Just talking, no Jamboard. Just talking for.
Yes, Saket, before we jump to the
Yeah,
just very quick question. So in practical world, when we are in the PI planning meeting, so what tools we use? Like I had seen in the screenshot you shared, like there were multiple papers on the board. One team member was
It could be done in a
presenting.
classroom, like in a face-to-face session. It can be done in the paper format. That's a possibility. The Jira is definitely has a Jira line which can help us in alignment. The tool which are only to facilitate PI planning meeting. There is a piplanning.io is there. Miro and all also has a template. So you have a ready-made template like a Jamboard we created ourselves. So similarly, Miro has a template where you can do. SAFe has their own collaborator tool also, which is like our Jamboard only, which can be used. Yeah. So, but more later on, you want to put it into Jira at some point in time. You can have a transition here. Directly, you may not want to put into Jira because things are changing here and there. So, yeah. So you can use Miro or you can use piplanning.io. Piplanning.io has been designed for PI planning meeting only. So they are just for 2 days of PI planning meeting. That's the tool.
So these are the tools can be used in the sessions also, like we are in a room with all the team members. We can use it directly, or like first we have to use the boards, like the sheets, sticky notes, and all.
No, it depends. If you are doing face to face, then better you use the physical boards because you may not have a time to compile it, and then your Scrum Master and RT will do the compilation later. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Good. So 4 minutes plus 1 minute of reflection. Let's do the breakout. And if you have any question, discuss in a breakout room first, and then we talk.
Hi. So we are here to discuss about the whole process or just the doubts.
I don't remember. What's the expectation here, please? I don't know.
I guess Saikat was asking us to discuss about the PA planning, the whole thing, and if there is any anything misunderstood,
So
then
in case if we have doubts
Yeah.
while planning process, so one doubt I just have during this what we did the iteration capacity and load thing. So once we prepare this planning, I mean this capacity and load we have defined, and then this is a draft plan, and then we go to the next part to present it to maybe the management or something. So once they ask the question about the ratio of capacity against load, sometimes we have more load than capacity, then we will be telling the management that we will review it in our sprint review or sprint planning, and then we adjust our capacity and load. It's like that, or any idea?
I think
So
like
we definitely discuss, see, during the management review, right? The question will be coming on telling that, why exactly you are loading more when
Right.
your capacity or your velocity of your team is probably say 20 example. So why you are planning for 21 or 22, whatever the numbers. Now, either you give that explanation that, there would be some backlog items because in the previous iteration, we were able to complete it within minimal time and, team will start ahead and we are anticipating that, we'll definitely work on it. That's the confidence we can give. And, or, yeah, we have some technical expertise who can really work on it with minimal time, and that's where we were able to make it with a load, additional load can be taken up. But yes, beyond that, if there was some still further discussions, right? Yes, there are two options. One is either you change your feature so that you replace or swap like what we have done earlier, or it could be something like you might revisit that story points for it. That is what with your product owner and the scrum master, you have to discuss with that and get the story points discussed, and then it can be changed accordingly.
Okay.
Okay. Any comment, question for me before I talk about execution? So there are complete 7 videos which takes care of PI planning meeting in pretty much detail. They are available in your PDF file. Hopefully now you recognize them well. So in case for understanding purpose, definitely you can go there. And as Logo has pointed out, that in the skilledagileFramework.com, if you click on PI planning meeting, you get most comprehensive information possible. Yeah. So again, not needed for exam, but yes, you should know that these informations are available when you click on PI planning thing. Yeah, so they tell you the whole detail and all preparation, readiness, logistic readiness, agenda, day one agenda, the planning board, the ART planning board, the various things in the iteration 2, there you do your fist of 5, the retrospective meeting, whatever we have discussed is something explained here in a more comprehensive manner. So these tools are available for you for your future reference. Good. Now time to execute it. So when we are inside the PI execution, we need to ensure that do we know where we are so we can identify the problems and we can resolve them. Yeah? It is very unlikely that our PI plan will work as it is. We do expect the plan will start falling apart even within the first week of our PI execution. So we need to have a continuous review and working on it. One of the things which we will use for reviewing purpose is ART Kanban board. So this is primarily used by these guys, the product management, business owner, system architect. We know that these 3 stages talks about the feature is under reviews and refinement, But later on also feature will go through stages like it is under implementing, it is under staging, it is ready to release, it is done. So we will have more stages in our ART Kanban board, which will track the live status of the feature, the ART backlog item at any point in time. So that's the one tool the stakeholder and product management can use to see where is my feature throughout. Yeah, that's that one. Another thing, as we have learned, I think Ramya was talking about. So these teams will take their PI objective to their area and they will populate their team backlog. We understand that, I guess, now. So each team is preparing their team backlog here. And they will keep refining this team backlog on a weekly meeting. We call it team refinement, backlog refinement session. So here they may add more acceptance criteria, more detail, more information, so that they can revisit the priorities also. So this is the product owner's job. They will keep doing their daily sync up. As we know, the daily stand-up is called daily sync now. They will do all their Scrum activity. They will do their iteration review, iteration retrospective, as we learned in the lesson 3. Now that is not explained here. That's part of a lesson 3. What we are learning here is that on a periodic basis, weekly, we also need to have some sync up meetings. So we need to have a coach sync and we need to have a PO sync. So coach sync is release train engineer and scrum masters, team coaches talking about, guys, how are we doing? Yeah. Do we need to take care of some challenges? How the dependencies are getting followed? Are we on track with our PI planning? If not, what should we do to come back on the track? That's the agenda of it. We will look into the slides as well. Now, as we learned, the product owner might be adding new stories. Product owner might be reprioritizing these stories. Product owner might be adding the refinement or acceptance criteria to the user stories which are there in the team backlog. Those also need to be discussed. So the product owner should discuss it with product management and other POs. So they are coming together maybe weekly to talk about what kind of adjustments they have done in their area. So again, they can have a subject matter expert, system architect and all also. I'm just showing as a key participant of these particular meetings. Then you learned the system integration. Once this work is over, we are also expected to have a demo after 2 weeks also. And these demos are repeated, means every iteration and we should have a demo. And these demos are called system demo. So we'll learn about this as well in our slide now, that okay, this is the another event which help us in knowing are we on track, because we have learned the working software, working systems are the only measurement of progress. We can't just rely on everybody's in a sync up meeting is saying everything good. We need to see the demo. So periodically we need to have a demo about it. The final thing which will come in the subsequent slide is innovation and planning iteration. So what we do here, we will look into the details with the help of slide. So this is our small segment which is coming in the format of slides now. Yeah. So hopefully with this chart, you see the relevance or a big picture, and then we get into the details and understand how do we develop on Cadence and release on demand. Release on demand is the next topic. Basically, we are focusing on developing on Cadence as of now. First few slides. Any question for me before I start the presentation? Hopefully it's digestible, all of you. Okay, so develop on Cadence. Let's see. So this is your ART Kanban board. Again, example. You can say that funnel analyzing ready is a backlog stage, ART backlog stage we have been talking. There could be an understanding of when the items move to a particular state of an ART Kanban board. When the PI planning is done, we may move the feature into implementing stage. When all the user stories of that feature has been completed and integrated, we may have a validation for staging that feature only. Later on, we may have a deployment and release also. And after release also, we want to learn what was the performance of the feature. These stages may have an explicit criteria which tells when the item will come in this particular column. The numbers you see here is like a work in progress limit. They are example, but it is primarily showing you that we can have a work in progress limit for various stages. So Sagar, you were telling, should we do a one feature only or do a many feature? There could be your company may want to have your ART may want to have a work in progress limits for number of features started. maybe you might have taken 10 feature as a PI, as a whole agile release train, but your train may says, guys, at least finish 4 before you work on 6. Yeah? So that could be they can limit implementing feature WIP limit to a 4, where the remaining 6 should not be touched, and that policy may impact your PI planning activity also as a team. Yeah. So we should have it, we can have it. That all depends how do we want to ensure our movement of our feature towards the finishing. So this is one of the visualization which is an implementation of principle number 6, which tells that visualize and limit work in progress, and it is seen at a agile release train level. So this is one of the two to see where is my features. Transparency, part of your agile idea. Now, others, meetings. So as we learned, now little complicated name, ART events. So the code sync, PO sync, system demo, or whatever we do at a higher level, they are called ART events. Whatever we do inside the 2 weeks thing, they are called team events. Iteration planning, team sync, iteration review, iteration retro, backlog refinement, team backlog refinement, better we should call it. They are happening at the iteration level. So we learned that iteration level event will keep happening, and the higher level event will give us closed loop system. So what does it mean? It ensures the feedback of multiple teams are integrating, and we are applying system thinking. We are doing the execution in alignment. So we need to do a continuous review, retrospective learning, inspect and adapt in a way at a release train level, so that we ensure all teams are moving towards common goal. Now here your problems like, oh, one feature was initially estimated 20 points, now it became 50 points. It's a good discussion for PO ART sync, maybe a code sync, PO sync. It might get escalated as soon as it becomes 20 to 50, so that you can also take assistance from technical people. If not resolved there, it may become a part of our sync up meetings discussions as well. What do we do with it? The sync up meeting review will decide what should we do with that particular thing. So some quick review of these meetings now. Code sync, till version 5, it was called Scrum of Scrum. So some of you may see some of the old content saying, we can do a Scrum of Scrum. Yes, it's the same thing, just a new name. So we are saying that we need to know the visibility of what is working, what is not working, what kind of impediments are there at a team level, so that we can resolve them, usually led by release train engineer, participated by Scrum Master and some selective team members who may understand the technology. The idea of this meeting is the release train engineer want to ensure that complete train is knowing each other's status. So I need to ensure that other Scrum Masters are aware what is happening in my team as a Scrum Master. At the same time, I as a Scrum Master should ensure that I learn about other teams also in a Scrum of Scrum meeting. And I see if there is something which is impacting me, and I let people know if something is happening in my team which might impact them. Yeah? So we talk about transparency at a release train level. It could be a 30 to 60 minutes. It can be done at your own frequency. The scaled agile recommend minimum once in a week. You can do more frequently if you need it. And after this meeting, you may want to do a analysis meeting. We call a meet after meeting, where you want to review what is working and what is not working. You may want to do problem solving in that meeting. So what should we do about an exception should get discussed after we take a stock of the whole agile release train. That's a coach sync. More or less on the same line, PO sync, basically focusing on the progress, priority adjustments, elaboration of user stories, facilitated usually by product management, but release train engineer can also do it. Product management and product owners and some key stakeholders are key participants there. The major discussion is on user stories and priorities. Again, 30 to 60 minutes, once in a week or more frequently, and can be discussed. The problems can be discussed after the 60-minute time box is over. We can keep the selective people and do a problem solving if needed. Sometime we may want to merge these two meetings. If you can say, oh, POs are few, Scrum Masters are few, can we have a joint agenda and have a one meeting? You can do that. Then you will call that meeting as an ART sync. So jointly, these two meetings are also called ART sync, but someone can run just one meeting and consider the agenda of both the meetings in the same meeting. Call it ART sync. So Scrum of Scrum, what is it? Code Sync is clear. Yeah, not a Scrum of Scrum anymore. Code Sync and PO Sync is these two meetings. Now, what do? We don't know. I know you have been asking, many of you, exceptions need to be handled in an exception way. There is no default recommendation. We need to apply safe principles. Release train engineer will help us in applying safe principle, economic decision making, system thinking, those kind of ideas. And based on that, we will take a call. Now, system demo, as we discussed, the features, not user stories, features which are completed need to be demonstrated, which are not yet completed need to be made visible false. So we need to have a system demo which will show the execution of our ART level planning board. So our release train level stakeholders may not be attending team demos. Each team is giving demo of their user stories every 2 weeks. But there are few stakeholders who may want to see the integrated demo only, not the team level thing. There could be few who may be interested in the team demos also. The system demo is an integrated one, and it is only showing how the newly developed features are working in collaboration with the past features. Now, if you have a manual integration, there is a possibility that your team has done this work at the end of 2 weeks, and the integration and review process itself takes 1 week. So there could be lag between iteration review and system demo, lag. So there is a lag. Maximum lag could be 2 weeks only, because by that time the next output will also come. So we should not have that long lag. But if you have automation done, if you are integrating more frequently, then this lag may be not there, or maybe a few days only, because this can be done faster. So that's the thing. If you don't have an integrated system on its own, the system team, as we learned on the day 2, system team can help you in supporting and creating this system demo. So the idea of system demo is different teams work get integrated. System team does it. They support it. They do a regression testing around it. They see, okay, how overall thing is working. Then the product management comes and they demonstrate this full system to the business owners. So actually the audience of system demos are business owners. It also helps the product management to also have a validated information at a one place, and system team provide the technical support. That's a system demo. Team members, maybe some selective team member may participate. Not the full team is needed for system demo.
Okay, Saket, a question over here. Just comparing to Scrum and this one. So, for example, normally when we don't have a system demo, but let's say after each sprint in Scrum, we normally do is we have we show the demo to the product owner how the feature is functioning. Okay. Now, sometimes what might happen is at a development environment, and when let's say in a different quality environment, there might be an environmental change because of which some of the functions might not, or features might not work. Right now, at the stage when we are doing a system integration, let's say during development, I've done everything is fine. At a system integration, I found out that there's an issue. Now, let's say for me that iteration is complete, and that's when I'm giving to integration for the demo. But then we found out an issue, be a quality issue, whatever the system team finds it, and they say when they put it back, should we take it into the immediate iteration and replan the other stuff, or how do we normally do it?
We don't know. You need to find out. Yeah, so no default answer from SAFe. You need to find out what you should do. It depends upon your economic decision making. It depends upon the priority. It depends upon the severity and overall system thinking. Maybe current feature you want to drop it. You may not take it. Maybe the system team can resolve it. So we don't know. Yeah, overall we don't know. But you need to plan. If this is a repetitive event for you, then you need to do some analysis and find out how do we handle these kind of surprises. Now, the recommendation is for that only we better get the system integration done on a regular basis and improve the definition of done of the team only, so that these things get identified as early as possible. So that's that. Going forward, our idea should be the system integration should not wait for the iteration to finish. It should be done more and more early, but whatever is right now, we need to figure it out. How do we handle it?
Okay. Yeah, because what I see here is that we are planning capacity and loading. We're doing the loading based on the capacity. but however, we are not planning for some rework.
So if
Ideally,
you
I
have that
understand
rework,
from
plan for it. Yeah. If you have a history of doing it, plan for the rework. Don't load your teams fully. Yeah.
okay. So then it's up to us. It's not predefined or something like this. How we have to do it, but it's up
Something
to
in your
the
environment. So
yeah.
see,
Okay.
in some cases, if you have a 50% rework, then you better plan your capacity for 50% rework. In some cases, you may be supporting the current production also. You might be getting some production defects also. You need to plan some capacity for that also. Plan 20% capacity for that. So
Mm.
the capacity which you are planning in a PI planning meeting is you are planning for the new work. We are not saying that's your total capacity. You can say this is our percentage capacity available for the PI planning work. I may have another capacity which might be going somewhere else. It depends. Or you may have a dedicated team who is taking care of these issues only. So overall.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, got it. Because at any point in time, we were speaking about features and stories and everything, but we never spoke about how reworks are addressed. And I understand from a lean perspective, we try to eliminate rework as much as possible.
And then whenever you have it, take care of it. No recommendation for taking care.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
But yeah, so that's the system demo, and we learned that it has to be an integration thing. Now, please, all of you relate to the SAFe principles. So principle number 4 is coming alive here, continuous integration. Principle number 5, the working software is the only measurement of progress. Or a working system should be a milestone. So that is also coming alive in the system demo. Now, the most interesting stuff. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So we are talking about, see, one of the principle on cadence and synchronization, right? That's what, we are talking about. So this is what, see, now everyone is in sync and we are in that cadence part, right? So now where could be this disturbance, or, how this will be delayed, or, how it will be. So are we applying that particular principle here and ensuring that every team will be giving the demo at the same time?
Principle 7 has been applied by way of having PI planning meeting together and by starting and finishing the iteration on the same day. That's the principle 7, so that system team can take it and integrate it.
And this is what it's the same thing, right, Saket? It's the same thing what we are talking about. We take that.
So that is a precondition. If that is not there, then these things are difficult. Now, even if you are starting on the same day, finishing on the same day, you don't integrate. So you can say we have a cadence and synchronization, but we are not integrating. So starting on the same day, finishing on the same day is a principle 7. Integrating it is a principle 4. And showing the integrated demo to the stakeholder is a principle 5.
Okay.
So they work in this sequence.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Now